It was Victor Hugo who once said, "If the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. The guilty one is not he who commits the sin, but the one who causes the darkness." Hey guys, what the fuck is up? Today we're going to be talking about racism. And I guess the first thing that I need to tell you before we really get into it is what I believe in. I believe it's 2013. 2013, and the idea of hating on someone because of their gender, skin color, race, or religion blows me away. If they are not hurting anyone else, then who gives a fuck? You know, the idea of borders existing in North America, or Russia, or Iran, or Iraq, it's becoming less and less relevant, because I talk to people in other countries all the time. And it's just the world that we live in. And we're very quickly going to face a situation where overpopulation is a problem. And we're going to need to figure out how to work together to get off of this planet and find other planets to populate. So, the idea of borders is silly to me. And the idea of hating on people because of what they believe in or what they look like is even fucking stupider. So, if you hate on someone, or if you're scared of someone because they look different than you, then step outside your comfort zone and learn a little bit. I was forced outside my comfort zone. When I was a kid, I was taught, you know, I lived in a rich white suburb, you know, the stereotypical one, and we would drive through the stereotypical black ghetto, and I was told to roll up my windows if a poor black guy walked up to you on the street. Don't talk to him, he's probably on drugs, or he's probably going to try and rob you. And that's what I did. Until one day I got my reality checked. And I went to gaming tournaments of all places, where I'd meet drug dealers and a few thugs here and there, and so on and so forth. And what I found was that these guys are not bad people. They're just a product of their environment. And on top of that, they're some of the coolest dudes I have ever met. They're some of the nicest and most awesome people I have ever met. So, the idea of me being afraid of someone because of what they look like or where they live just doesn't make any fucking sense to me anymore. And that's not the reality. The reality is that we live in a situation where if you're born in the ghetto, then good fucking luck. Good luck. Because chances are you're not going to make it. You know, we live in a country where it is supposed to be equal opportunity. Every person should have the chance, at least the chance, to succeed. I'm not a socialist or a communist, but I believe that every kid, I'm not talking about welfare, I'm talking about opportunity. I believe that every kid should have an opportunity to succeed. I don't care if you're the rich white kid from the suburb or the poor black kid from the ghetto. You should not have to deal drugs in order to get out of the system so you can have a life for yourself. You should not have to go through, you know, an incredibly shitty school system just to, you know, go to community college and then work at fucking Burger King. I don't get it, and it makes no fucking sense to me. I believe that it wouldn't even be that hard to do. We spend $600 billion a year on defense, more than every country combined a year. You could take 1/12 of that. That's $50 billion a year. You could put that into the ghettos in a proper way. I'm not talking about throwing money at people. I'm talking about setting up institutions to help kids succeed. And you would have a movement the likes of which has never been matched before. You would have the civil rights movement on fucking steroids. Steroids, son. It would be ridiculous, and it would be awe-inspiring. But that is not the world that we live in. So, what are you gonna do? The most that you can do to end racism is to just show love to one another, and to be nice to one another. And that's not some hippie bullshit. Because that's a legitimate answer to a legitimate problem, analytically speaking. You know, I have a real problem with the way that some of these institutions do business. For instance, I'm probably one of the least racist people you will ever... Least racist. I don't have a racist fucking bone in my body. The NAACP, though, I have a real problem with. I'm sure that you guys had heard of that George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin case. Almost messed those up, but I know you guys have heard about the case. Everyone, you know, freaked the fuck out about that. And I know a lot about the case. I know a lot about the facts. And I do know that the NAACP went after George Zimmerman. And whether you think that's right or not is completely up to you. But if you wanna cure racism, all you gotta do is be nice to one another. That's all you gotta do. And what they did blew me away. They went after him with this angry, you know, resentful, spiteful tone, and you know, that's not how you cure racism, motherfucker. That's how you hate on white people, and that's no better. That's no better. Vengeance is not any form of retribution. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Such a silly saying, but it's true. So, let me give you an example if you disagree with me. In World War II, our government gave alpaca wool farmers $1 billion a year, or it was around that, probably less, but it was about $1 billion to get our soldiers suited up for battle. So, you know, we'd give them all these crazy, you know, uniforms and shit that were made out of alpaca wool. We'd give those alpaca wool farmers $1 billion. Now, after World War II, we stopped using alpaca wool, but these farmers needed to stay relevant, right? They needed that government money because they were just, you know, ready to go. The government was giving them this money. Their industry was growing. It was awesome. So they kept getting money, and they still get money today. They're like some designer fashion wear or some shit, and they still get $1 billion a year today. Your tax dollars, my tax dollars. Well, my parents' tax dollars, so those are my parents. But you get the point. Another example. Our tax dollars go to tobacco farmers to farm tobacco, which is cool. If you smoke, whatever. But also, the very same time, there is money going to anti-smoking advertisements on TV that the government pays for. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't me going fucking off my rocker. It's just how it is. So, these businesses need to stay relevant in order for the government to keep giving them money. Alright? Can we agree on this fact? If you can agree with me there, then you will agree with me when I say that the NAACP receives government funding, and if racism were to all of a sudden cease to exist, you would see the NAACP cease to exist as well. But they get money, they pay people, they're a legitimate industry, they need to make sure that racism is alive and going, that way they have something to go after. Their existence is dependent on racism. It's just weird. The NAACP, they're supposed to, you know, fight against it and to make sure it goes away. But that's not the case. If you still don't agree with me, then let me give one last example. Look at the cancer industry. The cancer industry is a $1 billion a year industry. It's billions and billions and billions of dollars. If we found a plant tomorrow that could cure cancer, you could put it in a little fucking vitamin pill for $5. That industry of cancer, of chemotherapy, that would go down the drain. You would lose $1 billion a year industry. It would go away. So it is not in their best interest to find a cure that is cheap and affordable. It's not. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. I'm a realistic person who says this is a business that relies, at least in the NAACP standards, they rely on government money. So the government money needs to keep coming in. And in order for the government money to keep coming in, they need to make sure racism is alive. So they went after George Zimmerman. You can hate on George Zimmerman all you want, but here's the reality. There are far worse crimes being committed every day, black on black crimes in Chicago, and that place is in dire need of help. Where are they? Sitting there saying, we need to fix the ghetto in Chicago. I haven't heard them talk about it. Have you? I haven't heard them make the uproar that they did about George Zimmerman, that they do about what's going on in Chicago. You know why they call Chicago Chirac? Because it's fucked up. It's insane. You should see documentaries about it. Vice did a documentary about it. It'll shock you that this is going on in our country. And that the NAACP, the people who are supposed to be protecting this from going on, are just sitting by the fucking sidelines. I digress. Blows my fucking mind, man. And it pisses me off that it's still going on. It pisses me off that the very institutions that we put in place are also the reason why change is not happening. So, you know, I can't... At the end of the day, though, you can't get too mad. Because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, 500 years ago, we were going medieval on some motherfuckers. They were going to the guillotine. We had slaves. We were building castles 500 years ago. So, you know, I can't... For me to say that it's this awful and, you know, it's just reprehensible... I mean, yo, it's getting better every single day. And I'm proud of that. I love the fact it's getting better. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. Regardless, though, this is an issue. And it needs to be addressed. Because racism still exists. And I don't think the institutions that are in place are doing a good enough job about it. I think there are very practical solutions we could come to if you were just to get rid of all the political bullshit. Because that's very real. That political bullshit is large and stinky. And if you don't, you gotta acknowledge it. Because even though what I said is very practical, it's also somewhat utopian. The idea that, you know, you can fix it if you know, throw $50 billion at the ghettos. Because the amount of politics that would go into that is just... The headache I'm sure that would cause for people would be astronomical. Anyway, that does it for my rant, guys. This commentary took me such a long time to do just because I didn't know how to phrase it. If I upset some of you guys, I'm sorry. And I am not for George Zimmerman or against Trayvon Martin. If you want my opinion, feel free to talk to me in the comments below. But this does it for me. I hope you guys have a good fucking day as always. And until next time, peace. Oh, before we end it, let me just say that I'm going to have a schedule set up Monday to Sunday. That way we can, you know, have a good amount of videos being put up. So Monday I'll have a set video. Tuesday I'll have a set video. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It'll be a nice schedule. Different categories, all set up in place. Very organized. Very opposite of what I normally am. Because right now I'm just throwing videos up. Okay, there we go. Just had to get that on the table. Feels good to get this out of the way. Alright, guys. It's been real. It's been fun. Take it easy. Peace, motherfuckers.